Good morning, all. Thank you very much for joining us today in the forum. Remember that we meet 10 times a year on the fourth Wednesday of the month, except for November and December. So this is our last forum of this year. So the next one would be in January. Again, thanks for showing up. As usual, we would have some updates from different parts of Office of Research. And most of the time, hopefully, would be devoted to you asking questions and be answering them. So with that, you know that one of the important things that we have is the fact that last fiscal year, the researchers on campus brought in a record number of dollars to the campus for research. We went over 1 billion. So associated with that, we have the Director of Communications from Office of Research, AJ here, and he wants to share some information with you. AJ, go ahead, please.
All right, can you just confirm that my screen is being shared?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, we have a really fun and exciting event planned for November 1st. To celebrate surpassing $1 billion in research funding for last fiscal year, which has been a long time goal for the university. Should really be a fun event and thought-provoking as well. In general, for the agenda, we're going to start with a reception with food and drinks. And at that, we'll showcase some innovations from across campus. Then after that, we'll hear some opening remarks from the campus leadership team. But the primary focus and bulk of the event is going to be 9 TED-style, more visionary talks from our faculty, sharing some of their boldest research ideas. You know, our guidance to them for preparing for this was to leave their slides at home. This is not a scientific conference. So no slides, no conclusions, no charts. Really just kind of dig down into the brain and pull out what they see as what's really possible or what could be possible. You know, really trying to untether it from expectations. So it should be really exciting. Should be a good, fun, casual environment. And I'd really like to encourage this audience in particular to attend. This is really about celebrating everybody's work, and everybody on this call plays such an important role to make everything happen and pull it together. And we really want to celebrate you at the event. And also too, it's a good opportunity to see the impact of your work and, you know, some of the possible research directions moving forward that might come out of these TED-style talks. So if you'd like to register, I would encourage you to do so today or tomorrow. We're nearing capacity. We're going to close the registration by the end of this week, if not sooner. So I'd encourage you to go on if you're interested and register. And I will drop in the registration link into the chat after I'm finished. Alternatively, though, you can go to the Office of Research website just on the homepage, and you'll see the link to the event on there as well. So we hope to see you there. I'll drop that link in the invite. And I think, Ahmad, that's all from my side.
That's
I appreciate
great.
the time, though.
Thank you very much. I know you have been doing a lot of work to organize this celebration. I mean, it's not as simple as you just said that no, people are getting together and all that. This has been a lot of work on your part and your team. Thank you very much for doing that.
Could I ask a quick question? Hey, AJ,
yeah.
Will this be recorded and available later? I'm going to be in Mexico, so I won't be able to join, but it looks really exciting. Or is it just in person?
It's planned as an in-person event. We do have a plan to record, especially if we reach capacity. So we do have a plan, but we really want to encourage for those that are interested that can attend to attend in person. But we get it, right? There's plans. So we're going to try and make that available after to those that can't make it. Thanks.
Good. Any questions for AJ regarding the celebration or anything related to that? I guess no. Thank you very much, AJ, for sharing the information, and more importantly, thank you very much for all of the work you have been doing on the communication side for Office of Research.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Kelly on the proposal side. Any, the updates from proposal, Kelly, please?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I wanted to take the opportunity this morning to share some reminders and some helpful tips for expediting the proposal submission process. We know everybody is busy and trying to get things in as quickly as possible. So there's a few things that you can do to make sure that the process is as smooth as possible for everybody involved. So tip number one, please ensure that PI certification is complete. A lot of times the IPFs arrive in our office without the PI certification and we have to send it back. So we always recommend that the PI certify the IPF prior to the department approvals being granted on the IPF. And that will ensure that when it arrives in our office, it is fully approved by everybody in the process and ready to move forward. Tip number two, if what the IPF is requesting is a resubmission, please be sure to provide us with the original COI's proposal number in the notes section. That will help us to readily identify that it's a resubmission and tie it back to the original project. Helps the process initially go a little bit faster. Tip number three, please make sure that all PIs and co-PIs are listed, and investigators too as well, are listed in COIs, and make sure that those individuals are also listed in the scope of work. We're finding that we're having to send things back to update the COIs list and have the scope of work updated. That takes time on both sides. So if you can catch that on the front end, that would be incredibly helpful. Tip number four, please ensure that cost share letters are included. So a common example we're seeing is that tuition and fees aren't allowable costs, and then you have a GSR in the budget. Make sure that you're capturing that information via cost share letter. And then final tip, tip number five, in budget justifications, please ensure that you're addressing F&A costs in your budget justification. Also be sure that the subaward front, I just have a couple of tips for you. Please ensure that all subaward requests are submitted via email with the subaward request form, subrecipient commitment form, scope of work, budget, and budget justification attached to that email. We need those forms in order to fully process those subawards. Also, please ensure that the subaward request form is completed in its entirety and the budget aligns with the dollar figure listed on the request form. We're seeing some of them come through with incomplete information or with a different budget amount on the budget form than what's listed on that document. So please just ensure that everything matches and aligns. That will help us get those processed as quickly as possible as well. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to let me know now or put them in the chat. I'll go ahead and watch the chat through the duration of this presentation.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Let's see, I see a question in the chat regarding celebration of, research celebration on UC Davis Health Campus. I don't know if the Dean's office has any plans for that. I know that School of Medicine, their volume of award has been going up steadily too. AJ, I don't know if you are still on, if you know anything about if they are doing anything. I am not aware of anything from Central Office of Research planned for School of Medicine.
Yeah, I can add a bit of comment there. They aren't planning what I would call like the equivalent celebration. However, the School of Medicine Office of Research is planning a kind of like a showcase event. I'm going to try and look for the details on that and see if I can drop something in the link. But I do know something is planned, and I think it's for this fall. Or I'll have to check on the date actually.
Thank you very much, AJ. Let's see, regarding the SAB awards that Kelly was mentioning. recently I have become aware that especially maybe some newer members of the campus, they might be under the assumption that once we have an award and it has, let's say, 1 or 2 or more sub-awards, the process of sub-awards starts immediately. That doesn't happen. If you want a sub-award, you have to start from the department and send us the information as Kelly was talking about it. It is not an automatic process that we would start issuing sub-awards. It's just the PI has to decide. We should receive the supporting documents and we take it from there. Kelly, do you want to say anything about that?
We actually talked about that in our last research forum, but thank you for the reminder, Ahmad. It's really important that people just always remember the sub-award process is not automatic upon receipt of an award, as you mentioned. And I think that's something that people tend to forget. So you may want to remind your PIs that they do have to request each sub-award that they want to issue under an award that we have received.
Okay, and Maria, thank you very much for adding additional information to the chat there. Okay, if we don't have any questions regarding the proposals, we can go to updates from awards. Grace is away from the office today. So instead of Grace, the 2 team leaders of the sub-award, Jinger and Gayle, are going to give us an update. Jinger?
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everybody's off to a good start this morning. So for updates for the awards team, we just wanted to remind everyone that after the fact awards / proposals have the same guidelines for PI exception or PI eligibility as a full proposal or a proposal submitted in advance of a deadline. So only qualified members of the Academic Senate and appointees in their eligible title groups listed in the UC Academic Senate policy may submit proposals without the need for an exception. And appointees need to be at least 50% or more of full-time to submit proposals without the need for an exception. So if you have personnel that do require the eligibility form, please route it in the Cayuse IPF. And I think that is it for me.
Thank you, Jinger. Regarding the eligibility, the policy is in PPM 230-02. In there, it would talk about this 50% that Jinger has mentioned. You want to look in that PPM, again, PPM 230-02. It would tell you that that's the policy of university as a whole. Campus's policy is exactly following the UCOP policy, which says who is qualified to be a PI by the virtue of their appointment, and how you can apply for exceptions to that policy and go forward. Thank you, Jinger. Did we have Gayle?
Yes, actually, can we click over to the next slide? Oh, hello, everybody. So just a couple of extra quick updates. The Russian sanctions have been added, or we're working on adding them to the PI certification in the IPF. If you recall, back in March of this year, I think it was, Governor Newsom issued a sanction basically saying that he didn't want anyone doing business with Russia with good reason. And so we were, I think, issuing IPAs if we had to sign a certificate or certify, or if the sanctions were listed in the terms and conditions of a contract. So now to kind of streamline the process, we're adding it to the PI certification to help kind of capture that certification from our PIs. Next slide. And then the last thing is just the end of year prior approval requests. Just as a reminder, if you have any prior approval requests, since it's our last meeting, please do submit those early to us if you can. That would be carry forward requests, rebudgeting, no cost extensions, anything along those lines, and we'd be happy to take care of those. If you have questions about what those are, please email them to awards@ucdavis.edu, and we'll answer you as quickly as we can. I think that's everything.
Thank you very much, Gayle. Any questions for either Jinger or Gayle regarding what they presented? No? Okay. I see some questions and answers in chat. I think we are up. No, let's see, nothing new there. The next presenter, we have been receiving some questions regarding the process of confidentiality agreements and non-disclosure agreements that are not responsibility of our office, and they have to go to our tech transfer office, which is called InnovationAccess. So we have a representative of InnovationAccess here, Byron. In a second, he's going to tell us about their operation and the type of things that they work on and so on and so forth. One general issue that I wanted to make sure that everybody knows, if the confidentiality agreement or non-disclosure agreement is needed as the step before starting a research agreement, those are responsibility of Office of Research. But if the confidentiality is for sharing intellectual property of university with an outsider, that's when it is in tech transfer. So Byron would tell us more about all of those issues. Byron?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so the confidentiality non-disclosure agreement process is sometimes a little bit tricky because depending on the purpose, as Rob mentioned, different units on campus have authority. And so as Ahmad mentioned, for the sharing of confidential information as a prelude to research collaboration will be typically handled by sponsored programs. Sometimes CDAs are requested ahead of like procurement or business contracts agreements. And I believe that the business revenue contracts people do some, but agreements that are focused on sharing of intellectual property, sometimes tangible research material, are typically handled by us over here at InnovationAccess. And within InnovationAccess, there's two subdivisions. There's a team currently recently rebranded as the contracts team. They handle material transfer, data transfer agreements. And so they handle most of the confidentiality agreements in our office. And I'll mention in a moment how to contact them. But aside from that, there are folks in our office, such as myself, that focus on patent-related cases. And typically that means that an invention has already been disclosed to our office. And so sometimes researchers want to talk with potential collaborators, whether they're in academia or industry. And the researchers either want to share information related to inventions, or we are entering into pre-licensing discussions, or it's not exactly related to invention, but the researcher might be talking about future research endeavors, but it's not really something that would go to the sponsored programs office. Those types of CDAs are handled by us. But if it's related to an invention, then one of the intellectual property offices will handle it. So, but that's still kind of murky, right? So typically what I recommend is if you want to share confidential information related to intellectual property owned by the university, there's an online submission form. I don't have the link, but you can email mta@ucdavis.edu, and the person on the inbox will direct you to the right process to submit a CDA request form. If you're already working with an intellectual property officer, if you're an inventor and you've disclosed inventions to us, you could always just email one of us, whoever you're working with, and that would probably be the best contact. But if you're unsure of who to contact, just email mta@ucdavis.edu, and they will give you the point in the right direction. Let's see. I'm getting a couple of questions. Let me open up the chat box here. So one question: what if a study intends to collaborate with other UC campuses and involves sharing data from the EMR? Is it a research collaboration or a data transfer? So the answer is it could be both, right? Yeah, I'm not sure. In sharing of data from the EMR, it would depend. I think it would depend on the specifics of the collaboration with the other campus. A data agreement needs to be put in place to share PHI, protected health information, typically even between campuses, and we have template agreements for that. The HIPAA rules will still typically apply. So I think it would, I think that might go to the sponsor programs. It might be handled by office. You could email the MTA@ucdavis.edu with the specific details of that collaboration, and then someone could help you navigate who would handle that non-disclosure agreement. And seeing Gina's pointing out the third type of confidential agreement, having seen relating to services or establishing vendors with outside parties. Yeah, that's what I mentioned. Those are handled by business revenue contracts. But yeah, I don't know, Ahmad, I guess, Ahmad, I don't know, for collaborations between campuses, I guess if there's no money, if there's no funding exchanging, like would that be something that you would handle in sponsor programs? I think probably.
we could do it here too. Again, on one hand, one can argue that sharing between campuses is all within the regions. Therefore, the assumption might be that maybe no agreement is needed, but for the same reason that when we get an award in one campus and a portion of it goes to another campus, some documents have to be put in place, even though it's within regions. Yeah. It's one arm of regions is sharing with another arm. You have to have something in place. In the areas of confidentiality, some other major issues can come in, as Byron explained, sharing of personally identified information that are subject to certain rules and regulations and federal law. So yes, the answer to the question is, we have to have some documents in place that something has left the campus and has gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
Even if that somewhere else is within the control of the region, still you have to have documentation in place. I think the bigger message here is that, Byron said it a couple of times, and I would repeat it. Some of these areas, they do have a lot of overlap. The most important thing for you to know is that there are several offices who do these type of things, and NDAs, CDAs. If you start with any of us, depending on what the situation is, we would guide you to the right place.
Yeah.
So if you don't know where to go, come to sponsored programs, come to IA, go to contracting services, and we all work together.
Yeah, definitely. To sort of echo that, if you're not sure, you could either email sponsored programs or email the MTA@ucdavis.edu email address, and they will let you know before you go down the road of submitting any CDA request form which office would be handling it. And I should point out that data transfer agreements are separate from confidentiality agreements. They're typically more involved. And yes, for intercampus transfers of patient data, I've had this discussion with the privacy folks at UCOMP, and the policy is that if there's patient information shared, it's still advisable for us to do a data transfer agreement, because the research component and the health system component of UC are actually, it's all the regions, but they're actually separate components. And so if the health system is transmitting data, even on the same campus, to a department that's not part of the covered entity, then a data transfer agreement it's not as involved as an external data transfer agreement, but it still needs to have some of the various things that we have in HIPAA compliant agreements. But again, if there's no money being exchanged, it might just simply be an intercampus data transfer agreement for protected health information, and that would be handled by the contracts team at MTA@ucdavis.edu.
Yep. Any other questions regarding these issues? Again, sometimes they can get complicated. The most important thing is for you to know that there are several places that you can go and get help. And we would figure it out. And again, there are situations that we have to get together and figure out who should be doing it.
Yeah, that's very good.
It's not always that easy for all of us to know even.
Yeah. But anything with the EMR, you definitely want to be ahead of the curve on that, because the HIPAA rules or something. There's not many things I lose sleep over, but HIPAA is one of the things that I lose a lot of sleep over, because the consequences are quite severe for sharing data outside of what's permissible under HIPAA. But we can usually get something for research collaboration. It's usually possible. Just need to have the documentation ahead of time.
Thank you, Brian.
Sure.
Byron.
Thank you.
Any questions regarding anything we have talked up to now? We have a couple of other updates. One of them is from accounting, and the other one might be from our RCI. So let's go to accounting first. Go ahead, James.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Ahmad. Well, I hope everyone is well and enjoying the cooler weather that we finally got to. Finally have an opportunity to put a sweater on, and it's almost Halloween. So here we are. I want to just start by mentioning, we are still working on filling a few positions, but one position that we're going to be posting in the near future is a fund management analyst 4 position, which is is our highest level fund management analyst position. So any of you with really good experience that might be interested in coming over and joining us, please take a look, keep an eye out for that posting. I don't know exactly when it will hit the board, but in the next couple of weeks, probably. So that is something, because we do still have a few vacancies, my normal advice, if anything seems like it's stuck and you need something to get moved through quickly, please reach out to one of the supervisors. You can email Ask CGA, or you can email me directly, and we'll try to figure out what has, what we need to prioritize, if that should happen. That is what I want to share directly with you, but I have Amy Bernauer joining us this morning to discuss our impending effort reporting cycle, which is just about to hit. So Amy is on our compliance team here in CGA, and I will kind of turn. Amy, are you ready to take it over?
I am.
You are there. Okay, take it away.
I'm gonna start by saying hi, everybody. I'm Amy. I'm a quality assurance analyst here in CGA. First off, I have a PowerPoint presentation about our effort reporting cycle, but I wanted to first introduce Janine Hayes, who's our compliance analyst. She's been with us for several months, but she will be the point person for effort reporting questions and communication with the departments. I know Janine is on.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say I've been on campus for a little over 18 years. I served in the English department as their account manager during that period, and also as the financial operations manager in undergraduate education. And I'm happy to be working now with the contracts and grants compliance team. So I'm looking forward to meeting you all and working with you all.
Okay, let me share. Whoop, shared the wrong one. Hang on. Okay. Yep. Do you guys have a blue screen, or are you seeing my PowerPoint?
We're seeing it. You're good.
Okay. To me, it looks like you're looking at a blank screen there. So, okay. Whoop. Stop.
Now we lost it, Amy.
Well, and I can't get it down either. Let's see. Yes, no?
No.
I'm not seeing it.
No.
You had it. Do what you just did a second ago.
Share. All right. Deborah says run it, then share, but I wasn't, if I was running it and then sharing it, it wasn't quite working for me. So
There you
see
go.
it now.
You got it.
all
now.
right, we'll just leave it like this and you guys can see it from this instead of doing the presentation version. So ERS certification cycle for 2021, 2022. I'm sure everybody's very excited. We have some calendar items and preparatory tasks. We're going to discuss the communication with our department. And there are happily no system upgrades needed this year, but I was going to review a new item from last year. And if you have questions, I'm going to go over a few ways to contact us for if you need help. So with regard to the calendar, the certification cycle starts in November. Our target date for that is always November 15th, but unfortunately this year we're going to be a couple of days late due to the ledger close date. And when we get information from UC Path, we're just not going to be able to hit that November 15th, but it will be very soon thereafter. On our website, the calendar's been updated with the exception of it still says November 15th as the date that we're going to be releasing the reports. But once we finalize that, we'll send an email to everybody letting you know that that's been updated. And as always, the certification deadline is January 28th. That's per policy. It has to be 120 days after the end of the cycle, which is September 30th. So that is a hard date, and we can't change that. Some tips and things to do in preparation for the reports coming out. If you need to a little refresher on training, there are resources on the ERS website and in the UC Learning Center. I recommend doing a quick refresh on those. For permissions, we ask that you get your permissions requests in early. Sometimes we get them in quite a glut, and it just makes it easier for us to get those taken care of efficiently if we get them earlier. So if you have new staff or changes in the responsibilities for your existing staff, then you need to request a new permission, submit a form to us. If you have staff who've left your department and no longer need permissions for your department, that can be taken care of just with a quick email. Our new email address is cga-compliance@UC Davis. And I have that in here a little further on. And then, excuse me, if you have PIs who retired or gone to another institution or otherwise left the university, their effort reports still need to be certified. So you need to think about who will need the certification permission to be able to do that. So please submit those requests also as soon as you can. And for the coordinators, report lists, we recommend that you subscribe to the My Certifications and My Project list for each of your PIs. That way you see exactly what they're seeing in their lists. If you prefer, you can also create a custom saved search for your department. The instructions for doing those things are on our website. And we ask that you, if you can, make appointments to meet with PIs to review their reports in advance, especially if you have someone that you know is leaving the country or will be unavailable, unable to certify, during January. Try and get a hold of them earlier so that that can be taken care of before they leave. We will be sending emails to coordinators several days before the reports are released. So in, probably the 9th or 10th of January in there, so that you can begin reviewing the reports yourselves. When they are released, we'll send an email to all the coordinators and PIs letting them know that that's happened. And we will send weekly status reports to the coordinators so that you can see the status of your department's certification efforts. The under preliminary review feature, this is, excuse me, this is a new feature from last year, and can be used to, if you identify reports that you think might have an issue, you can actually flag them for review yourselves. We also use it here for the ones that we think have issues. This is on the list page, list results. You can see on the right-hand side, there's a column that says under review that'll show you anything that is flagged as being under review. And when you actually look at the report, it has this little red banner that says report under preliminary review. And the way that you turn that on is down at the bottom of the report, you just check this box, report is under preliminary review. The coordinators can use that. The PIs can use that. Anybody who has a question about a report and wants to make sure it doesn't accidentally get certified before that question is answered can use that. It doesn't if a report's under preliminary review, it doesn't prevent you from making, or the PIs from making changes to it. Anyone with certification permissions on that report can still make changes and certify it. It just can let you know that there's something that you need to look at before that's done. We do ask that if you are flagging something for review, that you put a comment on that report for why you're putting it under review. It just helps us to understand what's going on, helps you to understand what's going on. So, and when we mark something for review, we will also add a comment saying why we're, this is under review by CGA, and, we will let you know, if something needs to be updated before it's certified. And then when we clear that, also, we'll add a comment saying, that per the instructions sent by the CGA, this can be updated and certified, or something to that effect. So as I said, we will be using this to flag reports that we know have issues, and coordinators and PIs can both use this for if they have questions for a report also. And then with regard to our help resources, again, Janine Hayes is our compliance analyst. She'll be the main person answering questions, but Deborah Henn and I will also be stepping in there if we've got really high volume, or, certainly I'm sure Janine will be out at least one day. We have a new email address, cgacompliance@ucdavis.edu. That email address goes directly to ServiceNow for ticketing. We started using this so that we can more efficiently respond to questions, and it allows us to, for instance, if Janine is out, then Deborah and I can step in and handle questions that have come in before that Janine's been communicating on. We have that history there and can see what's been done already and what may need to be done. There's also a help request form on our website that goes to our old email address, which is then forwarded. And if you use our old email address, it will still come to us. It just takes slightly longer because it has to be forwarded to CGA compliance. So that was it. If anybody has any questions. I don't hear anything, so.
Yeah, don't hear any questions. That's great. Thank you very much, Amy. And just so everyone was aware, Deborah was dropping a lot of links into the chat as Amy was talking. So if you want to go ahead and grab those, and all that information is on the website. So very good. I think that's all we have from finance. So I'll hand it back to you, Ahmad.
Thank you very much, James. Let's see. If there are no other questions, the next presentation we have has to do with RCI and conflict of interest related to DOEs. And that's from our Associate Vice Chancellor, Denise Ehlen. Denise, are you there?
I am.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. I am happy to come back and just provide a quick reminder about the Department of Energy conflict of interest requirements. So the OMB did issue a financial assistance letter 2022-02 that includes the interim Department of Energy conflict of interest policy. And I came to this group back in June to share an update about what the differences are. And just as a reminder that for the most part, there's no changes. We are still using our ECOI system to collect Department of Energy conflicts using the PHS form. There's one change in the signature block that meets the Department of Energy requirements, where they have to certify that the disclosure is true, complete, and accurate. So that has been incorporated and it's highlighted in red. There's no change in the department, or excuse me, the training requirement. So when they go into the system, they'll see the normal signature block and then this additional information here for Departments of Energy awards. There's no change in the definition of financial conflict of interest or the definition of investigator. Retrospective reviews may be required, but the Department of Energy would contact SPO and they would determine if additional reporting is required either through that contact from the agency or the terms and the conditions of the award. Reporting, we are required to report any financial conflicts of interest that are unmanaged or unmanageable, and our policy is typically we don't allow those to proceed, so that should be rare if at all. Organizational conflict of interest has not changed. One big change between DOE and PHS is that investigators must disclose reimbursed or sponsored travel related to their institutional responsibilities, regardless of the dollar amount reimbursed or sponsored. So when they go into the form, they'll see here in bright red that the Department of Energy requires the disclosure of all travel reimbursement, unlike PHS, where the travel threshold is $5,000 or more. So they'll still enter their travel in ECOI, but it would be all travel regardless of the amount for a Department of Energy award. Intellectual property rights follow the same path. They must disclose all intellectual property rights and interests. So again, when they go in, they'll see that the Department of Energy requires the disclosure of all income, unlike PHS, which has the $5,000 threshold, and they can include that information right in the form. We've updated the main link when they come in so that they know that they're using the same form for PHS and Department of Energy forms, and we've updated the list of organizations that require compliance with PHS to include Department of Energy since we're using that same form. So the other thing that I just wanted to sort of point out is I dropped the URLs in the chat, but UCAP is continuing to monitor the policy. It still remains interim at the Department of Energy. They have not released final guidelines, but as we get clarification from the Department of Energy or COGR, we are updating the Department of Energy interim conflict of interest policy on the UCAP site. And they also have a great table here, similar to what I provided in the slide deck, that compares Department of Energy and PHS as a great quick reference guide. And the COI, again, this is what it actually looks like for faculty. It's in red. It gives them or their administrators completing the forms for them the cues about what the differences are for the Department of Energy. That was all I had, Ahmad, unless there are any questions.
Thank you very much, Denise. And again, as you said, you had provided information back in June, and so this shouldn't be new to our researchers and departments. And we have been, I mean, they have been complying, but this is good that now they have additional information. And as you said, the final policy is not out, so things might keep changing, but that's the nature of the area we work in.
Yes.
Any questions for our Associate Vice Chancellor? No, I guess that was very clear, and we all try to comply. Let's see, again, remember please that this is the last meeting of or forum of this year. So this is your chance to ask questions for 3 months, this month and the next 2 months. I don't see anything coming in, and nothing in the chat either.
Well, since things are quiet, I'd like to share about some upcoming trainings, if that's okay.
Go ahead, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm Perry, and I'm the training officer for the Sponsor Programs Office. And tomorrow we have a class, and you may have already noticed it's in the the chat because I was prepping the info for this moment and I accidentally hit send. So tomorrow's class is it's a quarterly research administration workshop, and these have been designed to focus on specific topics within the proposals and awards and sub-awards processes. And tomorrow's is on using the OR budget templates. So some people open up an OR budget template and they're immediately overwhelmed because they're very complex Excel spreadsheets that were designed by Alyssa Bunn, who is an Excel genius. And so the class is designed to help folks identify which is the correct template to use, and then what the benefits are to using these templates. And there are many benefits. The Sponsor Programs Office recommends that you use these templates and you pull them from our website so that they have the most accurate and up-to-date data that auto-populates as you fill them out. So tomorrow's class is from 9 to 11, and if you're interested, as I put in the chat earlier, you can write spotraining@ucdavis.edu to get the Zoom link for it. And we have some other classes coming up. Since this is the last forum for a few months, I'm just going to touch on them. We have a new class called a Proposals Lab coming in on November 10th. And that's just going to be an opportunity. If you've done some of the prerequisite trainings, you'll have an opportunity to just work through actually creating a new proposal in Cayuse SP. And as you encounter questions or areas of confusion, you'll have some experts right on hand to help walk you through the whole process. And then on December 1st, we are preparing a proposal budget lab, which is a very rewarding class. It's the second offering this year. January 12th, we're doing a class called Understanding the Awards Process. So all of these classes and training opportunities can be found at the link I just posted in the chat. So we encourage you to take advantage of the training opportunities so that you become an expert at processing all of these proposals and accepting awards. It's a very complex process, and I've been working in this area for a year and a half, and I'm nowhere near an expert, but it's all one day at a time. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you
Any
very much,
questions?
Perry. To add to what Perry is saying, attending these classes and, for example, learning how to use the Excel spreadsheets is going to save you a lot of time. That the spreadsheets are, make putting the budget together so easy once you know how to use it. You don't have to think about the benefits, the indirect costs, application, and so on and so forth. It's all in there. It is very nice and user-friendly. And thank you very much, Alisa, for putting these packages together several years back. We have received requests from other universities for sharing the information. So these are really great tools, and they save you time. Alisa, do you want to say anything about your creations there? They are great.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yes, the only thing I would want to say is that we're completely here to help you also learn how to use the sheet. So in addition to the class that Perry has told you about, you can email me at any time if you have questions about how to use the sheet, or you're trying to figure out how to budget something special. We also have a lot of custom sheets that we don't necessarily put on the site, like a 13-year budget. If you have some special project where you really need to have additional years, an 8-year budget. Sometimes people request like a multi-component budget that's 8 years. So if you need anything like that for a special project, please do reach out to me, and I'll be sure to help you. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Alisa.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else anybody wants to share, talk about, regardless of if you are in a part of Office of Research or our colleagues on campus? Way back when we started these forums, there was a lot of sharing from the experts on campus and exchanging information. So Recently, I haven't seen that happening, but if no, there are times that you have really a good practice that you are using, or you want to ask question about who has a practice in a given area. This is a good place to exchange that information as well. So have that in mind, please, too. Let's see in the chat. Yeah, there are people thanking Alisa for good reason. No, I don't see any questions in there. Okay, anything else? This is the last chance for this year. If not, then I'm sure all of us are very busy. Remember, end of the year is coming up. Most of the offices of the campus, they would either be closed or have a limited number of people. Most probably our office would end up doing what we did last couple of years, and last year especially. Remember last year, we sent a message out from both IRB and sponsored programs that basically our offices were closed to business doing with the campus or outside. So, and we do have some emergency phone numbers for IRB, for example. Things happen, and people have to be able to get in touch with regarding human subjects and so on and so forth. So we take care of that, but you want to be conscious about the deadlines towards the end of the year, and you want to give us enough time to finish the proposals, for example. Okay. I don't see anything else. So if there is nothing more to talk about, we can stop the session, and we would have the next forum in January. Have a great rest of the year, and happy holidays already.